Following program is for training purposes in TV news education. Some copyrighted material is used and is credited on screen. However, no more was taken than was necessary to tell the story of the event. YBA claims fair use of materials.
Welcome back to Wicked Teen. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Hannah.
And now we're going to go into Alex B., our YBA reporter, who's going to talk to Jon Meterparel, the sports personality on WEEI. Alex?
Thanks, guys. Alex Barth here with WEEI's Jon Meterparel. And John, I got to say, talking to you earlier, I mean, I listen to Sports Flash all the time, but then hearing your voice with it, you know, it's kind of a surreal experience. I feel like you're about to give me the score of the Sox game.
I could do that for you, Alex, if you'd like, but I may have to charge you for that. You know how it is. But
of course,
it's great to be here today. Thanks very much.
All right, so John, known as a Metro West legend.
Oh, now has legend been degraded? Because that's high praise.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. And, you know, I'm gonna go with it because you've done a lot, and you did something that's hard to do. You started your career in the Boston area at Framingham at WKOX, and Boston's one of the bigger markets, especially for sports. How much did it mean to you to be able to start in this area?
I think it was very important to me, just because it was in my comfort zone. It was something that I really loved to do at a young age. I consider myself a Boston broadcaster because I was doing games in my head, in my living room. I was broadcasting sports. My dad was involved with the business, so I knew some people in the business, which always makes it easier. You've heard that, I bet. It's not what you know, but who you know.
It's all the connections.
So it was one of those things where I felt very comfortable here, and I said, you know, if I can do it, I'm going to start in Boston, in the Boston area. So the beauty of that job in Framingham, doing Metro West area sports and covering a little bit of the Boston market. We didn't take on WEEI, but even 6 months on the air there, that tape got me my next job. So it's all about getting a great resume tape, getting more professional experience, and then climbing the ladder. And
you mentioned those connections that you had before that job. Where were you able to get those connections?
Well, those connections come from a lot of hours spent in press boxes, a lot of hours shaking hands, meeting people. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know about the timing aspect of the business. It's very important to be in the right place at the right time. It's tough, easy to say that, difficult to do, but a lot of it is just cutting your teeth at events and getting yourself in front of people. People like Jimmy Young, who, oh, by the way, I used to intern for at New England Cable News, and Mike Adams, who we all know and love, and Bill Pito, who was at ESPN, is now at MSG Network. And I think internships are very instrumental in developing those types of relationships and getting you started at your college-based career, and just basically not being afraid to meet people and to tell them, hey, I'm Jon Meterparel, and here's what I want to do.
All right. Dennis and Callahan show, obviously, the morning show, that's where people wake up every morning, they hear their sports. Right. What's it like to be on the morning show in a place where you know if somebody's a sports fan in Boston, they're listening to you?
Oh, it's an incredible feeling, especially because I think we all consider ourselves agenda setters from the morning. It used to be reading the sports page, and now it's listening to Dennis and Callahan and watching us on Nesson. I think a lot of people look to us for news. That's a scary thought. Information. And, you know, the beauty of sports radio is that it's entertainment, and it's a show. And every day we are doing a show, which is, you know, a lot of it's, there's some theatrics involved, there's some real life involved, there's some not so real life involved, but it's all one big pot, and we stir it around, and we see what sticks. So I think sports radio has enabled me to gain so much valuable experience extemporaneously speaking. We don't have scripts. I do have a script for the Sports Flash, but that's it. It's all off the top of your head. It's whatever pops in your head, you fly. You know, it's a hit and run, and usually that comes up pretty well. Sometimes you say some stuff you might regret, but you know what? You just keep going, and that's what you have to do when that red light's on.
And how do you balance the sports factor and the entertainment factor? Of course, people want to get their news, but at the same time, you got to keep the listeners wanting to listen.
Especially during morning drive, where people don't, you can fall asleep at the wheel easily.
Right.
You know, we don't encourage that. So that is a challenge, and I think that's why it's so competitive in the market for listeners, because people will hit that dial, or turn you off on their iPod, or turn you off on any device they can be listening on now in a heartbeat, because there's so many other options. Satellite radio is a big option now, as we all know. So you really do have to strive to be entertaining. You have to strive to be creative. You have to strive to be, none of us are comedians, but we can come up with a funny line with the best of them. If you try too hard to be a comedian, you're going to fail, because we're just not comedians. But look, sports are entertaining. Sports are funny. Sports are drama. Sports are, that's why we all love it. There's so much involved there, especially in this market where every day it's almost like a soap opera.
Right. And doing the sports flash, what's that experience like? I know it's very rigorously timed. You got to get it in. Do you ever find yourself getting to the end and realizing you have more, realizing you're doing it all too quickly? And just what's it like going down and making sure you get everything?
It's changed a lot in the 12 years I've been there, because in 2000 the internet was just exploding, and a lot of people were still kind of just jamming that off as a fad. The internet's not going to fly. I think Larry King is still saying that, along with maybe 3 other people. But you do have to adjust with the times, because in 2000, when I did my first sports flash, I was on the air the day after the Super Bowl, Tennessee and the Rams.
Oh, wow.
And that was the big, the last second game.
Right.
And people, more than likely, you're watching the Super Bowl, they know the score, they know what happened. But that's kind of one of those events that everyone knows what's going on. Red Sox-Angels game the next, or who knows, 3 months down the road, late at night at 10:30, you don't necessarily know the score when you wake up. But now they do, because it's on their phone, it's on their computer, it's on your microwave. You turn on any device in your house, you're going to get a score. So I don't want to say sports flash is irrelevant now, because that would be stupid for me to say, but it's a little less relevant than it was before, because there's so many other ways to get your news now, and everybody knows what's going on. Twitter, of course. Despite what Mike Francesa says, it's not inane and it's not useless. I think that is a huge device now for breaking news, and everybody knows before it happens.
Right.
So my job is a little easier in terms of timing, because I don't have to feel the need to shove 18 scores in my report. Everybody knows what the score was.
Who's the best guest you've ever had on the show, the most entertaining guest?
Man, that is a good question. I would say the most entertaining guest at the Super Bowl, which I was not there this year, but I was listening intently in the studio because I was doing some BC broadcasting, but they were in Indianapolis. Jay Moore was a terrific guest, just funny as hell, if I can say that here.
They'll bleep you, worst case scenario.
Of course they will. Very, very entertaining. A lot of comedians we have. Anytime Lenny Clark's on, he's entertaining, he's funny, he's informative, he's fresh. Those tend to be our most, quote, entertaining, funny guests. As far as weekly guests on Dennis and Callahan, you have to put Tom Brady at the top of the list. He's a rare athlete in that he actually is not afraid to say anything, and that's unusual coming from the Patriots camp. And even if he just sounds good coming out of his mouth. No matter what he's saying, he could say it, and you'll think, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And he's always must listen to radio. And he's on every Monday during the season. Doc Rivers is a terrific interview because he doesn't have a censor. He has a broadcasting background. He knows the game. He knows you have to be entertaining. He doesn't have any ounce of Belichick in him. No one's going to tell you that necessarily all their state secrets, but you could still be an informative interview. So we're lucky on Dennis and Callahan. I work with 2 guys who are, I think, the 2 best interviewers in the business. And no matter how bad the guest is, their questions are still going to be outstanding. Right. So they can still make it work.
And you talked about how you do BC football as well. John is the voice of BC Eagles football.
And basketball.
And basketball. What's the difference to you? What's the big difference between play-by-play and doing a radio show in the studio?
The big difference is, first of all, it's the immediacy. You're talking every second for the most part. There's not much of a lull time. I think the best another aspect of my job from talk radio that I bring to play-by-play is I consider it entertainment. It's about the game, but a lot of it is entertaining as well. I mean, it's 97% about the game, but that other 3%, you better make it damn entertaining, or they're going to switch the station. So one of my goals is to make it an entertaining listen to, and I think a lot of times you're dealing with a play-by-play broadcast that is like a talk radio show. If you have that chemistry with your color analyst, Pete Cronin on football, Malcolm Huckabee on basketball, you try to draw that out of your analyst. You don't want an analyst just saying, "Hey, that was a great play, John." You know, anybody can do that.
Right.
So you want someone that's not only going to give you analyze the play, give you some information, but they're also it's going to be a give and take. That's why I think Cedric Maxwell's effective with Sean Grande on the Celtic broadcast. It's a show, and yes, it's about the game, but a lot of it can be about the personalities around the game, and hopefully you can draw that out.
All right, and going back to the DNC show for a little bit, you guys now simulcast on Nesson. It's something we're starting to see a lot more now with radio broadcasts. Do you think this is where radio is heading, to kind of a radio/TV format where there will be a visual aspect added as well?
I think there will be more shows doing it. I think it's your own Jimmy Young was a trailblazer in that department a couple years ago. So I think it's a unique angle. I think some stations might have some trepidation about doing it on the radio side because they might be afraid of losing some people to the TV side who don't turn on the radios and just watch you on TV. So I think they're going to have to find a give and take there. I think we have a very good relationship with Ness, and it's gone very well thus far. And it's been great for us, even though some of us dress pretty well. Thank you, Miltons. I'm getting every plug in I can here.
You got it.
So that's a little different. You have to wake up and you have to. I don't want to say at least. Yeah, I don't. Nothing wrong with makeup on occasion, but not every day. So it's been fun. It's been different to have a camera in your face, but it's been fun, and I do think that you'll see more of it.
What has the biggest change in your job been since you started the simulcast?
It hasn't changed at all. I get that question a lot. It's still the same show. There's no restrictions. We just do our show, and the only difference is that I'm looking at a camera at times. So it really, you're not. You know, I don't feel differently at all. I think John and Jerry would say the same thing.
All right. One more thing, because of course, Celtics in the playoffs right now, Metro West, Boston sports. What do you think of the Celtics series?
I think the Celtics are in trouble. I think they are far too injured right now. I think Paul Pierce has no lift. I think he is debilitated. He'd probably have surgery tomorrow if the season ended tomorrow. I think they're relying far too much on Brandon Bass to give them some offense. Kevin Garnett's been terrific, but he's due for a couple bad games. And he's hurt. Allen's hurt. I think bone chips aren't just going to come and go in your ankle, bone spurs. It's unfortunate because I think they would have a chance to beat Miami, and I still think they might sneak into that Eastern Conference slot, but that's going to be a big challenge. Although the one thing about Miami is they're so Jekyll and Hyde, and if you got them in a close game, LeBron James doesn't want to take the shot and wants Mario Chalmers to take it. I'll take that every day of the week and Sunday. So to answer your question, I just don't love their chances right now because I think their age is far too prevalent and their injuries are far too prevalent.
All right, thank you very much. I got one more question for you. I know I said it was the last one. This is real quick. On your bio on Nesson, on WEEI, it says you like to stay in touch where you came from. Obviously, doing shows like this and that. But the example they gave is you still bring your laundry to your mom's house twice a week. You have any comments on that?
Oh, that was just 4 years ago. I stopped doing that. Once you get to a certain age, you can stop that. But hey, God love Mom. We celebrated Mother's Day. I brought her my laundry. What else does a mother want on Mother's Day but laundry? So thank you, Mom.
All right, thank you very much, John. That was great. All right, for Jon Meterparel, everybody in the studio, I'm Alex Barth, WEEI Sports.
You got it, Alex.
I know.
He's got it.
Welcome back to Wicked Teen. Thank you, Alex. That was a great interview.